Well, good morning, everyone. This is MightyStream. Today is April the 22nd. I want to greet you this morning. Thank you for joining me. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is the H.O.D Recovery Services Program, and H.O.D stands for Hope Offered on Demand. I'm looking forward to the day when I will look back and I will see exactly 365 podcasts on the Just for Today in a meditation. I'd like to invite you to join with me as I read it. A little tongue-tied today. We had a wonderful, wonderful fundraiser for the Hope Through Navigation Tiny Houses pilot project. It was beautiful. Had a great turnout. So, all right. Here we are, April 22nd, and it is entitled Traveling the Open Road. This is our road to spiritual growth. Basic text, page 37. When we arrived at our first NA meeting, it looked like the end of the road to many of us. We weren't going to be able to use anymore. We were spiritually bankrupt. Most of us were totally isolated and didn't think we had much to live for. Little did we realize that as we began our program of recovery, we were stepping onto a road of unlimited possibilities. At first, just not using was tough enough. Yet, as we watch other addicts working the steps and applying those principles in their lives, we began to see that recovery was more than just not using. The lives of our NA friends had changed. They had a relationship with the God of their understanding. They were responsible members of the fellowship and of society. They had a reason to live. We began to believe these things were possible for us too. As we continue our recovery journey, we can get sidetracked by complacency, intolerance, or dishonesty. When we do, we need to recognize the signs quickly and get back on our path, the open road to freedom and growth. Just for today, I am continuing to develop my spiritual, social, and general living skills by applying the principles of my program. I can travel as far as I wish on the open road of recovery. That's a powerful reading. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Let's take that moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You know, I think the way this Just for Today in a meditation is written by several individuals that remain anonymous, right? So you don't know who the author is, but you know the organization that produced it is our Narcotics Anonymous World Service Office. And I think the way that they have written this Just for Today in a meditation is brilliant, because I noticed that the paragraphs for each day. There's like usually 3 paragraphs, and then it ends with the Just for Today, the final thought, right? And the first paragraph always gives us a glimpse of where we used to be or what the problem actually used to be or might be currently, right? And then by the time you get into the second one, it kind of elaborates a little bit further and leads you into the solution, which is going to be the spiritual principles of the 12 steps, right? And then it tells you in the third paragraph, it makes like a proclamation or an announcement, or it makes a, I don't want to say prediction, but it makes a statement about us being to activate the principles, spiritual principles into our lives. And the statement here is that as we continue recovery, our journey, right? We can get sidetracked by complacency, intolerance, and dishonesty. But when we do, right, this part right here, let me highlight this last little sentence. When we do, we need to recognize the signs quickly and get back on our path. I like that. I like how hopeful I feel every time I read the Just for Today in a meditation. It reminds me of who I was, who I am, and who I have an opportunity to be. And I hope that you notice that. I hope that you notice that our road of recovery, this journey we're on, is a spiritual one that has manifestations in the physical atmosphere, right? Typically, if my spirit is downtrodden and I'm depressed, then the evidence of that is going to be the way that I carry myself in a slow, procrastinating, lethargic manner. The tone that I talk in is going to be somewhat depressive, boring, maybe, very monotonous, not a lot of energy, unless, of course, it might be anger or agitation because I'm not feeling better about things. And so the honesty of the individual that is in recovery, being able to acknowledge that something is array, something is not okay, that we are uneasy or we have dis-ease or a disease, right, spiritually. The ability to do that is very mature. But what is even more mature is the ability to address it. We have an opportunity in this program to reinvent ourselves. And we invite our higher power to come into our lives and help us recreate our characteristics, our defects, letting those go and bringing in positive assets. We invite our higher power to do that because we want relationship with humanity. We want a working, positive relationship with the people we interact. There's nothing worse than being connected to a down, negative, angry, agitated individual all the time. There's nothing worse than working with that same energy. There's been people that have walked away from very financially gainful jobs or careers because the atmosphere in which they worked was so toxic, right? And so that's not our issue necessarily, but we do know that we don't have to add to the toxicity, right? We don't have to add anything negative to anything. Matter of fact, I was taught that if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say it at all, right? But in order to be able to do that and to refrain, to have the wisdom to know the difference, that's a spiritual journey. That's a spiritual walk that every individual has to take, or they don't have to take it, but every individual is responsible for their spiritual well-being. They're responsible to be able to look at how they're feeling and acting and analyze that and make a decision. Is this okay? Is this going to work with those and with myself, with those around me and in society? Or is this a characteristic or a deficit, a liability that I need to let go of? That's your responsibility to do that for yourself. And it's my responsibility to do that for me, right? And MightyStream definitely has some personality. I'm a little just thought, right? I'm a little forward about my analyzation of things. And it's very hard to have a simple conversation, a superficial conversation with MightyStream, with me. You can't just skim the surface with me. If I see that you're a person that likes to just skim the surface and everything is just superficial, we don't go any deeper than that, I'm a little bit dismissive, right? Because I know that the things that are on my mind are not necessarily things that you care to talk about, but I'm definitely not going to allow my energy and my time to be spent with anyone that is not interested in taking a second look, that is not interested in going further and figuring how they can become assets to themselves and to others, right? So I know for me, I don't refrain from interacting. I just don't invest a lot of energy because I know that this is superficial. I've known you for years, and the main thing is that you might want to complain about whatever, but you're not really serious about fixing that. And you're definitely not receptive to me giving you any advice or suggestions or looking at it with you. This is just something that we happen to cross paths, and so we're having a discussion, right? So I know for me that can be an asset, but it can also be a liability. Because if I'm not allowing individuals an opportunity to warm up to me and get to know me better, how can I actually expect them to be comfortable disclosing anything that they might need to work on or want to work on? Right? You see how what I said, how my personality is can actually be both positive and negative, right? So today I try to take time. I try to take time. I was talking to take time to let me finish that sentence. I try to take time to let people get to know me. I don't get as agitated when people ask me, how did the name of MightyStream come about? I don't get as agitated when I'm understanding that they're trying to get to know me better. I take time today to allow others to know who I am. There was an individual that I met just 2 days ago, a homeless guy. And I was asking him, how long have you been in this particular, situation of homelessness? And he said, well, it's been about 5 to 6 years, maybe 10. And I said, okay. So it's been maybe about 10 years. And he said, yeah. I said, so what happened when you no longer had a home? What do you remember what happened that day or that year? And he said, I was just moving too slow for the people around me. Wow, it hit my spirit like a ton of bricks. Because when I'm about what I'm trying to do, I don't slow down. I get what I need to do done. And anyone that is too relaxed, taking too much time, I'm just gonna step over you. I don't have time to sit and look at the things that aren't really deep, right? But now I'm learning. I have to do that. I have to take time, right? Because my receptiveness or lack of receptiveness to people can affect them forever. Well, I hope that this reading today has been beneficial for you. And I look forward to talking to you again later.